Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. Got a full line today. There's at Ant Rivera 86 pre-Disney World trip. At Fuzzy Chris 91 gutting it out tonight. Game time decision, but made it. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Real easy. We're going to be doing some fantasy hockey talk today. We'll be putting the top 25 fantasy hockey defensemen in tiers, doing a mock draft later. So you know what? It's summer. It's all fantasy stuff. But fellas, how we doing?
Listen, in about 5 weeks, there will be hockey. So
a little earlier than usual, too, with the 84-game season. So things will hit less preseason, maybe start slightly earlier.
Less preseason. And I mean, I'm a big fan of less preseason.
NHL had way too many preseason games for years.
I'm a big fan. Less preseason hockey means less of these guys who are trying to make the NHL, blowing out somebody else's knee for no reason. Not saying that's ever, happened to a player. So, but I mean, it's coming. Summer's basically over. Like, I don't know who's going to break it to you. Somebody's got to do it. It's going to be me, but summer's over.
I mean, my kid went back to school yesterday. Summer's over here. So,
there you go.
And mine begins on August 31st, so that should be fun.
There you go. Yeah, you got like 2 weeks. So
2 weeks.
And then, like you said, preseason and that. Now, before we get into the defenseman tier rankings here, I did just want to touch on, they did some more NHL news came out this week, rumors or whatever about, expansion with, Austin and Houston and Atlanta. And, we've talked about the cities before and how we want them to go to Quebec City and all that. That's neither here nor there, but they just need to be careful. Like, you're at 32 teams, and yes, you're going to have teams that are bad, like Calgary, Vancouver, like they're trying to bottom out to rebuild and all that. But you got to be careful how many Seattle Krakens and Columbus Blue Jackets you have. Those teams that are just mired in mediocrity at best, and then sometimes you can only have so many of those teams before the league gets diluted. And I think if you expanded another 4 teams, that's likely. I think you're looking at and I know people are like, oh, there's so much talent in the NHL, they can easily support it. I don't know, man. You're talking about, 18 skaters, so another 72 players in the league. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a difference.
And I would assume you'd have to expand the playoffs at some point too. You can't just, keep it as is and have these teams just mire, like you said, like Calgary is and Columbus on the precipice, but never barely makes it in now. So you're gonna have to at some point expand the playoff roster. You said 4 teams. This is just becoming news to me. I haven't checked in on this. So you said 4 teams to be added.
It would be 2 and then 2 kind of thing.
And none of those are Quebec.
Oh,
absolute joke.
It's becoming
enough already.
You know what it is, though? It's becoming a thing where it's like, if we still are talking about Quebec, like, we're just not accepting the fact that the NHL is never going back there.
They literally built an arena for this.
You're right. But they'll go back to Atlanta for like the 17th million time. You know what I mean? So
they might go back to Arizona again.
I don't think anyone's asking for another Atlanta Thrashers. Is there like they have the Braves? They got some
2 owners, whatever. I agree with you. Like, at a certain point, like, it didn't work in the early 80s. It didn't work in the early 2000s. They made it to the playoffs once, and they got swept by the Rangers that year. I was at Game 4 of that series. That was my first ever playoff game. That was awesome. Again, just be careful how quickly you expand. Like, I hate to, people will be like, the NFL has nothing to do with the NHL. If the NFL hasn't gone beyond 32 teams yet, then you probably should not. That, to me, like, if the NFL can support something, then maybe one of the other big 3 can support it. I don't think the NHL should be the first to 34 or 36. But what we will do now is we're going to talk about 25 here. We're going to talk about our top 25, here in the fantasy defensemen here. Let's get over to I have to get over to the actual tier. So give me a second there. Now, one thing I would like to just throw out there that we've talked about last year versus this year. First, let's look at who are the top 25 by ADP with their overall average heading into last season. A lot of those names you're going to see, on this list again for 2026. and then taking a look at what NHL.com has as their top 25 for the season there. If you take a look, what I want to do is I want you guys, and I don't know if you looked at the outline, look at the top 25 ESPN fantasy hockey defenseman rankings coming into this season, and tell me how you have Brandt Clark at 7, 31st overall.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. I mean, Quinn Hughes at number 10. Come on.
Colton Parayko, who is not going to play the power play or power play 2 probably in St. Louis, somehow in the top 25. Matthias Samuelsson, which, yes, he's a nice defenseman for Buffalo. He is not a fantasy defenseman by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't get, it's.
I feel like Darlene, Hughes, Hudson, Lane Hudson, that is, Adam Fox, Faber, and I'll even throw in Charlie McAvoy. I feel like they should be higher in the rankings than they are right now.
Chris, what's your reaction when you see some of the
I'm trying to understand in what universe Lane Hudson would be 14th on this list in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm guessing that this has to take into account like hits and block shots and all those type of things, which is great. Like I get it, but like in fantasy hockey, we don't have to make this more difficult than it is, right? Like a wheel is still a wheel here. And the goal of fantasy hockey is to make sure that you rack up points, goals, assists, any of those offensive driving metrics, okay? Because you can find all the defensive metrics you're looking for later on, right, in the draft, okay? In no world is Adam Fox the 21st defenseman off the board. Like it does. Like, again, no offense to guys like Samuelsson, to Cole Hudson, no offense to any of those guys, but if you're telling me I want to be in a room with these folks who are using this as their bait, because if you're going to give me Adam Fox, who is going to eat minutes, right, then I'm going to take him. Right. Yep. I'm going to take him. And in fantasy hockey, I preach this literally every year, right? It's about value. So I'm not saying you can't take any of these guys here, but you are getting terrible value if you're taking Brandt Clark as the 7th defenseman off the board, and you are getting outstanding value if you're getting Adam Fox as the 21st.
And that's not to say Brandt Clark won't be a viable, rock solid fantasy defenseman this year. Maybe he takes that step, takes the officially from Saudi and becomes, but he's not 7th overall defense.
Like, switch them around. If you put Adam Fox as the 7th, you're like, that's probably like, yeah, I can make an argument where like that's decent value. And if you're taking Brandt Clark as the 21st defenseman off the board, you're like, well, that's the upside is there. So again, it's nothing about the player. It's where you're taking these players. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that is a choice for sure.
We talked about it last week
on either there or NHL.com, by the way.
Yeah. We talked about it in our last show when Moritz Seider was taken so high. I think he was like taking third or fourth in our mock draft for defensemen. Look, if you're watching Total Hockey Now, if you're watching this show and you're doing an ESPN draft, then you are going to make out like a king with these rankings, because you're going to get the best value listening from this show, knowing where to take these defensemen, and everyone else is going, if they're just basing their stuff on the ESPN fantasy rankings, I mean, good luck.
Now here's the NHL.com top 25 fantasy defensemen. This one is a much more reasonable, I would say closer to accurate what we're probably going to have when we do our tiers here in a second. Like, there's not like, yeah, I'm sure there's like stuff you could be like, oh, this person's better, but for the most part, you're looking at a pretty solid ranking. Mm-hmm. So NHL.com getting it right. Now let's bring that up to the stage. Now it's time to go tier making time.
It's time to do the Total Hockey Now rankings.
Yes. So here we go. Let's get that on its own screen so I can see what I'm doing and see your beautiful faces. All right. So of course, elite, top notch, great, reliable, serves their purpose, because we are talking about the top 25 fantasy hockey defensemen. So there are plenty of good defensemen that could be had beyond this. We're just trying to tier them among the 25. Now, the first question, we know Cale Makar. Last year we put him, I believe, in a tier by himself. Is Quinn Hughes belong in there? Does Werenski belong in?
I think so.
So that he's no longer in even though he's the only defenseman that we would probably consider in the first round. The other guys we'd look at the second round. I mean, even Werenski back end of the first round. I'm okay with putting Werenski in. I would put Hughes there too.
Yeah, especially now
100%
that
would.
Hughes is on Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think that he is definitely still an elite player, and Werenski earned that position after his play last season. So I think those three are that tier, and I would stop it at that point right there.
That's that's about as far as I would go too. I think like Cale Makar is where he is. It wasn't the Cale Makar season, but he is still elite. He's still on a team where he is going to be out there a ton. Zach Werenski at this point is self-explanatory. Like if you need me to explain why Zach Werenski is elite, I mean, I can't help you at that point. And Quinn Hughes, just the bump of him playing in Minnesota, where he's going to get a ton of ice. Like he's still going to eat close to 28 minutes a night, but those are quality minutes he's going to get. Those top power play minute reps, like you still have to pay attention to everybody else on the ice, Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, right, et cetera, et cetera. So just by having a whole bunch of better players, what he may lack in shots and blocks, he's going to make up in a ton of assists, a ton of power play points, right? And I think his goal total can get above 10. I know that's wishful thinking sometimes for certain defensemen, but I think on a power play where he can shoot the puck, and we know he can hit 10. He's in every reason to be an elite defenseman this year.
And I know that when you see, like a Brock Faber in a top 15 here on NHL.com, or you see, Brock Faber 23rd here, probably should be a tiny bit higher than that on the fantasy ranking. Be like, well, isn't that going to eat into Quinn Hughes, and wouldn't that make you want to bring him down a little bit? Maybe have him lead off the top notch tier. Quinn Hughes is going to get a boatload of ice time. Brock Faber is not going to. Brock Faber is a great number 2 defenseman. He is not going to eat into Quinn Hughes. That is not a situation where I work. They're not going to reduce Quinn Hughes because they're going to play Brock Faber, unless Hughes is nursing an injury or something like that, or maybe it's a third game in 4 nights kind of situation. Other than that, Hughes is going to be allowed to run however he'd like.
This probably benefits Brock Faber the most, because when Quinn Hughes came over, we thought, oh, there goes Brock Faber. Like he's no longer going to be fantasy useful. And he saw a resurgence. He was skating with Quinn Hughes, and they were all playing a ton of minutes. So if anything, I think this is just like you're surrounded by great players. You're going to be great. The opportunity is going to be there. So I'm not worried about Brock Faber. You have to watch the rest of the gang, and that may give Brock Faber some space.
Before we lead off top notch tier, Craig, I'll put the message back up. Every week, this guy is somewhere else for Total Hockey Now.
There we go.
On a flight to Newfoundland, apparently. So there you go. Like, just where in the world is Craig Cody? Maybe that's like,
where has Craig gone to?
He's going to have to carve out some time for our, serious draft, the real deal.
There's no Wi-Fi on the plane to Newfoundland? That's an oxymoron. There's no way. There's no way.
All right, so let's get to the top-notch tier now. Now, Evan Bouchard, bring back those rankings up. I believe Bouchard was ranked 4th on NHL.com, and he was ranked the top fantasy defenseman somehow.
I don't know what we're doing, ESPN.
Bottom line is, I think for wherever we want to say about his defensive abilities in terms of fantasy defenseman, to me, he leads off the top-notch tier. If we're going to say that Makar, Werenski, and Hughes are in their own class, Bouchard would lead off that next group.
If you've gotten an elite, talented forward in the first round and you're taking Bouchard somewhere in that second, perfectly fine. But do not feel the need. Like if those 3 defensemen go off in the first round, do not feel the need to have to grab Bouchard coming the other way. Like you'll be fine with the rest of the gang coming in here.
And if it listen, I think sometimes you're a little harsh on Bouchard from a fantasy perspective, though. Like if it makes sense when he's sitting there, the guy's on one of the best power plays we've seen in the last 15, 20 years. He's going to get his production. So don't if you need a top defenseman, he's still a very, very, very good 1A defenseman.
He is. You can more if you in the first round got a great offensive player, right? You can turn around the second round, grab Evan Bouchard for all his, defensive struggles, which Oilers, nation is going to be like, oh, look at all these numbers. I'll be like, buddy, let's look at the whole picture. Okay. Let's understand this from a fantasy perspective, right? Who's taking his spot? Who's taking his spot on the top unit? Not a soul.
Not
And
Oh,
most certainly not. Nobody's taking his spot. And Edmonton's going to go out there again, and McDavid and Draisaitl are going to run the show, and he's going to be on the top power play. He's got an absolute cannon. So they're more than comfortable with feeding him the puck. And it's gonna benefit him from a fantasy perspective. This is not about who is a good defenseman. This is about fantasy production. He is top-notch production.
Now, with Bouchard in that top-notch class, I think we're ready to put a Matthew Schaefer there.
Yes.
I have no arguments here. And based on that stuff you said on past shows, I think we're okay with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, do people get concerned that it's only happened one season, but it was just such an elite rookie season that it's hard not to put him up there and draft him? I know that the Islanders may not be great, but I mean, he was outstanding all season long last year, and he helped out plenty of fantasy teams to get them to the playoffs.
I mean, the Islanders weren't great last year either. So
yeah,
like he still did it. And I don't think it's like, I don't know if he's going to have the production that maybe some people think. Like maybe the goals won't be there as much, but I still think he's going to see a ton of time. That Islanders blue line is like, there's good players, but like Schaefer's the standout guy. Like he's the guy who quarterbacks everything. He wants to be on the ice. He wants to make a difference. So I'm more than comfortable with somewhere in that late second round, pulling out Matthew Schaefer to lead my defensive squad.
Listen, the only guy there that's a puck mover that is Tony DeAngelo, and while he's had a nice second act on the island, he's not threatening Matthew Schaefer's ice time. He is very much the power play quarterback too, or if yeah. So Schaefer's going to get his minutes, and I think he's fine putting him there. Let's put a couple other guys I think that makes sense there: Lane Hudson, Rasmus Dahlin. Anybody else that we're putting in this top-notch tier? We do have a lot here. You could look at an Adam Fox. You could look at Jake Sanderson, a Darren Radish in Toronto. I'm a little skeptical on him having, but in Toronto, he could have the same effect that as Evan Bouchard has in Edmonton if it wasn't a fluke season in Tampa Bay. So who else are we putting in the top-notch class?
I'll make an argument here. I hate myself for Adam Fox. Like, I just feel like
the love fest continues, man.
I just hate myself. Adam Fox is a good defenseman. Like he's just overall a really good player. And again, he's going to quarterback that top unit, that top power play unit, no matter what. His offensive numbers, like I can see him putting up anywhere from 55 to 60 points, which is really good. But at the same time, he's a guy who could block shots, and a ton of them. He can really go out there and, maybe the shots won't be as high as you want, but he's not going to have as many points as Quinn Hughes, but he's going to block a lot more shots than Quinn Hughes. So again, if you're looking for that defenseman, all right, maybe you've seen a whole bunch of these guys go, and then Adam Fox kind of hanging around in that third round, right, the start of it. Like, again, to me, he's a D1 defenseman on your fantasy team. Absolutely. If you have Adam Fox as your first defenseman, you're going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. You need two elite guys to start. But if you got Adam Fox right there, it's more than okay.
So are we ending the top-notch tier there, or are we putting a Sanderson, a Radish, or a Sider in there, or are they going to be in the great tier?
I think we lead the great tier off with Sanderson. I think that would be fair. It's just
and
that
Sider, I would assume, right? Because
and Sider. I mean, Detroit's going to suck. So
Radish,
he's get his time. Then I'll put Radish there. And now I think it starts, you start to look at, Jackson Lacombe, Jacob Chikrin. But yet you're seeing, Chikrin gets high rankings, but so does Cole Hudson now. All of a sudden, he's appearing in a lot of top 25 for fantasy defensemen, which I need to see it a little bit more. But, I would be willing to put a Jackson Lacombe in there.
I would too. Just, again, absolute sheer volume. Sheer volume is going to help Jackson Lacombe here. I don't know if he's going to it depends on where you get him. He's probably not the first defenseman on your fantasy team. If he is, you're swinging for the stars here. But if you've got one of those top-notch defensemen, round 4, 5 shows up and you add Jackson Lacombe, if you're talking upside, I would take Lacombe over Radish by 600 million moons. To me, there's no question about it. But I would also throw Jacob Chikrin into that spot. Jacob Chikrin, we also forget, like when he was a Coyote, this guy was, 3+ block shots, 5+ shots on goal, just an absolute monster. And Washington's gone out. They've added some pieces, and I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think Jacob Chikrin's season was a fluke. I don't know if he's going to rack up the 55, 60 points, because I do think Cole Hudson will eat into that a little bit. But I also can understand maybe them easing Cole Hudson into him being the top guy. And even if Chikrin moves to that second power play, for the first time in what feels like forever, Washington could have 2 solid units. Like Ovi can join 2 solid units and it goes pretty well. So I'm not entirely worried about that.
Now, a guy whose picture I don't have in here, and I'm trying to add it in while we do this, and he would probably be more on the reliable tier until we saw it. But would you throw a Byram in there for the same, because he's going to have opportunities in Chicago and Bedard, or is there somebody else that we're maybe looking to put in the great tier, like a Mackenzie Weegar, who is now in Utah, or is that eat into Mikhail Sergachev? He's still got Roman Josi out there who gets overlooked a little bit.
I would put Roman Josi in there again. Sheer volume. Who's taking his spot? I just can't find anybody who's going to take his spot.
So is there anybody else you want to, or are we now in the reliable tier? I mean, we got John Carlson in Tampa Bay. Like I said, we got Weegar, Rasmus Anderson, Erik Karlsson, Brandt Clark, Thomas Harley, Miro Heiskanen, Brock Faber. Or are we all right with moving on to the next tier?
I think we're moving on.
Yeah.
All right. Then who's leading off this tier?
That's a fantastic question. I think for me, it would be Brock Faber. I think he is going to be reliable. I think a little bit of that pressure coming off of him is going to be good. I would put in that category as well Charlie McAvoy for the exact same reasons, right?
Yep.
Charlie
Rasmus
McAvoy.
Anderson, maybe?
I could put Rasmus Anderson in that category as well. I think they are reliable, right? Rasmus Anderson had a terrible kind of coming over from the trade deadline to Vegas. I think he's just trying to, figure his stuff out. I would put Josh Morrissey in that category as well.
Okay.
Again, nobody's taken Josh Morrissey's spot. So, it is what it is. I would probably put Erik Karlsson as well in there and hope that his health sticks around. He had a fantastic second half of the season. Like he started to take off and look a little bit more like the Erik Karlsson that we saw. And I know age will catch up at one point, but I mean, he's right there.
What about Miro Heiskanen? Is that he used
got
to be higher up on this list? I feel like he's more reliable than serves the
I think
purpose.
Thomas Harley's presence hurts him a little bit there, but I mean, he's still one of their top guy. He's still the bona fide top defenseman now. So I'd put him maybe towards the top of the reliable. Where I'd have him.
I can live with that.
I'd even put maybe McAvoy over him, even though he's going to be suspended to start the year. How do we feel about John Carlson in Tampa Bay now?
I believe he's going to serve his purpose.
Mhm.
I don't like if Victor Hedman comes back and he starts taking over that top unit, right? That top power play unit, like that second unit's not anything to write home about. So to me, I believe John Carlson's going to serve his purpose. When he went over to Anaheim, it wasn't necessarily, all lights out either from him, right? He's aging. So, Father Time continues to be undefeated.
I think you can throw Shea Theodore and the Devils tandem also in that serves their purpose portion of the rankings.
So Hamilton and Hughes.
Yep. I would also put
more than 25 today. We may as well just go through everybody we got here.
I would put as well in that, like you mentioned him earlier, Bowen Byram. I'd put him in that as well. He's going to serve his purpose. He's whether we just don't know if it's 30 points or if it's 60. That's the only thing. We don't know what it's going to go.
I love the
would
blue
almost
and
wanna
yellow
put that-
Blackhawks jersey.
How is he any different? Yeah, I had to like put that on there real quick. To me, he's kind of like Erik Karlsson in that. Like, who else? Like, I just mean like in terms of nobody else in Chicago is going to take that time from him. Maybe Rinzel.
You're right, but somebody's got it. Like that Chicago team is miserable. They're so
put him
bad.
behind Karlsson. Then.
If you're drafted Bowen Byram this year and you're expecting greatness, I mean, listen, he might prove us all wrong, but I don't know, man. And especially with Bedard being hurt to start the year, like, I don't know, man. I don't know where he's going to get that opportunity. He might get absolutely eaten alive on the ice if he's playing 24, 26 minutes a night.
He's got a lot. Go ahead.
You continue because I was going to go into another player.
Well, I was going to say, we still got a lot of bodies down here. So is there anybody that we want to reconsider maybe moving up a tier? Like maybe, would you consider moving Sanderson up to top notch or Sider up to top notch and maybe Heiskanen up to great, the back end?
Yeah, I think this is fair. I feel like now we're in the group where there's going to be a lot more reliable and not a lot more serves their purpose. I mean, case in point, I feel like Noah Dobson is a reliable defenseman.
You can make that argument for that.
I mean, wasn't he 2 years ago? He was what, top 2, top 3 out of the Islanders?
Yeah,
he was the top guy until Schaefer kind of.
But the problem is he's not going to see any of those.
It's going to be late.
He's not going to see those. Yeah, and he's not going to see those. Like his numbers come his 5-on-5 numbers are good. He was top 5 in block shots, so which is great. He's reliable, right? But is he going to be a guy who's going to put up 60 points as a defense? I don't think so. I don't think. And that is like, if you're getting a defenseman who's putting up 45 points but blocks a ton of shots, like, I'm sorry, you can get that off the waiver wire during the year. Like that's not hard production to replace. I'd much rather take a player that has 70-point upside versus taking a watered down defenseman.
Got Maxwell Wong checking in about my take earlier. That's the Hulkster there. It looks like about too many hockey teams will water down the ones we already have. Could not agree more. Thank you for checking us out, Maxwell Wong. We haven't talked about the Utah defensemen yet because you got Sergachev, now Mackenzie Weegar. They're a better team this year. We expect more points from the standings. We talked about that in our Central Division episode with the futures there. As Daily Faceoff has it right now with Utah, as I pull it up here, because, I mean, before the deadline, Sergachev was the top guy, and they're the top pairing, Sergachev-Weegar. Sergachev's still the top power play guy. Weegar, the second power play guy. They both play the first penalty. So they're both going to get their minutes there. Do we want to put them both in reliable?
I would put Weegar in reliable, and I would put Sergachev in serves their purpose.
Even though he gets top power play time right now?
I think Weegar is going to take over that.
That's exactly it. I don't think I think once Sergachev loses that, he's going to be like he's going to be a very serves his exact purpose. He's going to be able to handle those tough matchups. I think at one point Sergachev and Weegar will play together 5-on-5 because they can both go out there, they could both move the puck, they could both join the rush. If things don't work out, like I believe that maybe the points won't come as quickly, but at one point Weegar is going to take over from that top spot. He was brought in here to lead that group, I think. Like if you didn't have to make that trade because you thought Sergachev could hold on, and the reason they moved Dursey was because, again, Weegar was here. So I just think they put a lot of hope into Weegar, and I think he wants the rebound as well, and he can definitely put up the production numbers that we saw, not last year, but like the year before that when he was with Flame.
All right. We still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players to go. I'm going to do a couple of rapid fire ones here. We're going to put both the top Kraken defensemen that serves their purpose. I don't think anybody's got a problem with that. Looking here, Shea Theodore, he now a serves their purpose guy because of Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like people are going to eat into his like Noah Hannafin's still there as well. Like any one of these guys could take over that top Utah spot, that top Vegas spot, and then what happens from there.
All right, so we still got, let's do Thomas Harley. Reliable, serves their purpose. Can't have him higher than Heiskanen.
No, I think he will serve his purpose.
All right, Brant Clark.
Serves his purpose. Until Drew Doughty is not there, he cannot be more than that. He can't.
All right, we're going to put Cole Hudson down there as well because we need to see it out of him, but he will get his opportunities. I'll put him right next to Brant Clark over there. We've got Victor Hedman and the two Hurricanes defensemen, Alexander Nikishin and Shane Gostisbehere. I'm going to put Nikishin here to close out the serves their purpose. I would still put Gostisbehere in the reliable tier. And I want to put Hedman in the reliable tier, but I mean, I don't know.
You can't do it. Is he reliable? Like, I don't know. We just saw Darren Radish get absolutely paid for being on the top power play unit.
That's how I would do it. I would bump Carlson up to that towards the end of the reliable pair because maybe he's going to get that top role. He's going to have that top role in Tampa, and maybe they scale Hedman back a little bit and try to keep him a little fresher. I mean, the guy has played a heavy style hockey for a very long time. So there we go. Now, before we get going here with the mock draft, I'm going to drop the link in the room here. It's probably a little too late for the 235, so we'll have to wait for the 40s. Let's see here. We're going to do a 12-teamer today, head-to-head categories mock. No auction.
No auctions.
All right, I'm going to put it right here in the chat. Everybody can join in if they want to do a mock. We're about 5 or so minutes away. Just dropped it there. I'll put it in the private chat for our guys as well. Where do I want to draft today? Because I get the luxury of getting to pick where I want to go. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna go 8. And Ant's just jumped in the room. Let's see, we got in the comment section here. I would hop in, but working. Well, maybe next time.
That's a fair reason.
So far, we see a couple of more ties. So we got 1, 2. Besides us 3, we got 2 more in the room. So appreciate if you're watching and you're joining in with us here. Still got about 4.5 minutes plus the actual minute for our draft time there, and then we will breeze through mock draft number 5. Steve, hopefully Yahoo returns soon. Every time I check, say the fantasy hockey not available yet. It's getting a little usually by
but college fantasy football though has walked in. Hey, come on, Yahoo, man. We're literally August. We're middle of August. Let's go.
So there we go.
Season's like 8 weeks, not even 8 weeks away. Like, what are we doing? Come on.
Let's go through the tier again while we and hey, if you got if you have somebody that you think should be higher, lower, or somebody we're forgetting or anything like that, reach out, let us know. You got our Twitter handles, you see them there. Also reach out to the show, totalhockeynow@gmail.com as well. Looking at the elite tier, Makar, Werenski, Hughes. If you want to put Makar in a tier by himself, I can hear that, but those 3 belong together. Our top-notch guys you're going to be looking at in the 2nd or maybe even 3rd round, top-notch Evan Bouchard, Matthew Schaefer, Lane Hudson, Rasmus Dahlin, and Adam Fox. In the great tier, and there are arguments to be made that you could potentially put Jake Sanderson and Moritz Seider in the top-notch. Darren Radish in a very good situation there, but need to see more than 1 season out of him and a new scenery there. Jacob Chikrin, Jackson Lacombe, and Roman Yossi round out the great tier. Then in the reliable tier, we start to get a little beefier here. Miro Heiskanen, Charlie McAvoy, Brock Faber, Rasmus Anderson, Josh Morrissey, Eric Carlson, Mackenzie Weegar, Noah Dobson, John Carlson, and Shane Gostisbehere. And then in the serves their purpose tier, Victor Hedman, Bowen Byram, Brant Clark, Cole Hudson, Dougie Hamilton, Luke. I'm going to put Sergachev ahead of those Devils guys there. Then we got the 2 Kraken defensemen, Vince Dunn, Jared McCann, Shea Theodore, Thomas Harley, and Alexander Nikishin. There you go. Any discrepancies, you let us know.
Yeah. Tell us why we're wrong.
I think
specifically the other 2, not me.
8, 14.
I've already told people every pick I make is perfect until it doesn't work, and then it's somebody else's fault.
We did like the top 37 fantasy defensemen. That's not bad.
Top 37? Listen, you will not get top 37 anywhere else.
You might get top 20. 36.
You might get top 25, top 35, but 37 hand-chosen defensemen? You know,
They're getting that anywhere else. Not for
Now
this
again-
category. Not for
and
this.
again, these are fantasy defensemen, not how they actually play on the ice. These are ones that
Correct.
will help you win your league. Okay,
I forgot to have that scroll ready. That
I
this
know.
is for fantasy.
We
purposes.
basically need it as a disclaimer now, so that somebody doesn't come up to me again and throws some of those analytics behind why Evan Bouchard is good defensively, and I'm like, buddy, let's just move on from this. Let's call him what he is.
There we go. All right, so we're waiting here. We got 2.5 minutes to the mock. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So half of the spots occupied.
I'm excited to see who takes one of those terrible defensemen on ESPN's list way too early. This is also why you need to do a couple of mock drafts, see what's happening, and then adjust, right? It doesn't matter what the ranking says or what Yahoo tells you or what ESPN, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is what you think and how you feel about it. If Yahoo said, no, but like if ESPN says this guy's ranked 126 and you're like, buddy, that's not true. Like as long as, again, depending on your scoring settings, right? Please know your scoring settings before you join. But in most of you are playing the basic leagues and stuff like that. Just know your scoring settings. Doesn't matter if it's a reach because ESPN told you it was. Don't listen to them. Doesn't matter.
ESPN's ranking trash, as was pointed out earlier by our buddy who's now on his way to Newfoundland. As we speak.
I'll just say the people writing over at NHL.com, right? Fantasy hockey on NHL.com, and the people writing it for ESPN are two different people, and one of them is really good, and the other one I couldn't name. So that tells you all you need to know.
By the way, I want to know why you have like zombie Milo.
They don't have an actual Jack Russell. That's the closest. That face though, that face is pretty accurate when he wants something to eat. So I would say if the ears were a little less long, it would be pretty accurate.
Now, we got the draft coming up here in 1 minute. Nobody going early here. Ant's the earliest at 7th. I'm at 8th, and Chris is at 10. So there will be sniping. That is going to happen.
There will be no sniping today. Okay. I've already explained it.
We also got Nate picking in the 11th hole, so he will get into the mix here as well.
Now it says pick 2 and 3. Those teams are there, but it's saying auto pick.
Oh, maybe they haven't.
They're in the room yet.
That might be why. Maybe they thought about it, saw that we were really good people, and they're like, "Nah, I don't want to be challenged today, so I'm leaving."
They were scared by zombie Milo.
That could be that. We didn't think about that. But it's also where you should, if you're doing mock drafts and practicing, you should be mocking from every different pick in whatever league you're doing. If you're a 10-team league, and let's say you don't know beforehand, right? If you don't, you got to do them all basically. Like if you're in one of those leagues that just randomizes it before, then it is what it is. But if you do know, let's say in advance, you're like, hey, I'll be drafting 4th or 5th. Then you're like, hey, keep hammering away the 5 spot and see what you get.
Kucherov first off the board, McDavid second, McKinnon 3rd, Celebrini 4th. So even though that was a little crazy, board kind of resets itself and gets back to normal. Pasternak 5, Boldy 6, and Ant's on the clock.
I mean, we've talked about this. If Leon Draisaitl is going to fall to you, you take him. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you wouldn't, so I could. Now we have a decision to make here. Am I grabbing a defenseman here? Am I grabbing an Austin Matthews here? I'm not. Jason Robinson's going to have a good year, and I could take him here. But you know what? Give me the Austin Matthews. We'll see what comes around to me. Zach Werenski goes next.
There you go.
Let's put up. So now Chris on the clock here. So Werenski before Makar, according to Auto Pick. That's the ESPN rankings doing their thing. See what Chris does here.
Not.
I'd imagine one of these two picks coming up will be a defenseman. It's just whether he takes it there. He takes Cale Makar there. Pick 111.
You know me so well.
I mean, I was almost going to take Makar there, but I'm ready for Matthews to. I'll take Austin.
I was pretty disappointed that the computer took Zach Werenski at 1-9. Like the computer seems like he knows what's happening.
Like he knew you would take Werenski, so he took Werenski, and then you got left with Makar, and it's like, okay, great, you're still leaving with Cale Makar. There goes Jason Robertson, which there at the end of the first round, yeah, I take him. Just People are taking him 5, 6, 7. Like, I don't know about that. I know he's going to have to drive the Dallas offense this year, and he's going to be the guy, but I don't know. Just sometimes you avoid guys just because of gut feelings. Not always, there's nothing wrong with that. Cale Makar, Jason Robertson, Brady Tkachuk round out round 1. Alex DeBrincat opened round 2 with Nate back on the clock here. Let's see what he does after grabbing Jason Robertson. Now he takes Evan Bouchard. Now remember, ESPN is a forward defenseman format. Center, left wing, right wing, don't matter. Kirill Kaprizov going to Chris there, no surprise. So he gets his dream Makar Kaprizov build. Kyle
1 year
Connor,
late, but it is what it is.
Better late than ever, my friend.
That's true. That's true. I'll take it.
I mean, if you're just going to leave me with a certain Quinn Hughes here, a Matthews Hughes starter. So no all Hughes team for Fuzzy Chris today. Back to the board. So I got Quinn Hughes. So I have a Matthews Hughes build to start. Let's see what Ant puts pairs with.
Yeah, that's probably the first snipe of this this afternoon here. But because I do have a backup, it is Cole Caulfield.
There you go. A Draisaitl Caulfield, that's a good pairing out of the gate. Jake Gensel follows him. Philip Forsberg, Tage Thompson, who's a darling of both of everybody here last year. This year, you're going to have to pay up in the second round to get him. He's not going to be lasting to the third or fourth round like he did last year. Makar for sale on the clock. He takes Nick Suzuki. First goalie off the board there, Andrei Vasilevsky, goes to Jordan's team. Matthew Tkachuk closes round 2. Jack Eichel opens round 3. So that auto team there, Kucherov, Tkachuk, Eichel. Brett Sider goes after to Jordan's scary team. So he's got McDavid, Vasilevsky, Sider. Carr for sale on the clock again at pick 3-3. McKinnon and Suzuki were his first 2 picks, or her first 2 picks, and they take Matthew Schaefer. So there you go. You're going to see a lot of teams trying to come away with at least one defenseman after the first 3 rounds. Mika Zibanejad, Wyatt Johnston, Artemi Panarin. Ant's back on the clock with Draisaitl and Caulfield as his previous picks.
Let's take our first defenseman here, and we are going to go with Buffalo's Rasmus Dahlin.
I like that pick a lot. It's somebody I might have even taken a second defenseman, but I'm not going to get too cute there. Now, for me, coming up here, we talked about him basically filling the shoes of Mikko Rantanen, and maybe not so much in the physical department, but Marty Nature's certainly producing next to Nate McKinnon. I'll certainly grab him. 32nd overall pick and my second forward there. Draft board back up. So after Marty Nature's, Zach Hyman goes, and Chris back on the clock here. He's got Makar and Kaprizov already. Let's see what he does next.
I think I can get him coming back. So I'll go with Adrian Kempe here.
One of the only sources of offense in LA this year will be him, Panarin, and Fiala, and Byfield to a lesser extent. Nate's back on the clock. He opened up his draft with Robertson and Bouchard. That's a solid 1-2 punch there at forward D. See what he adds here. Again, it's forward. If it's forward versus individual forward positions, that makes a difference. Hits also makes a difference. Face-off makes a difference. After Kempe, William Nylander goes. Alex Tuck to close out round 3. Noah Dobson opens round 4. Nate back on the clock here. He takes Mark Scheifele. Chris back on the clock. I got a Chris pick. Oh, he takes Cutter Gauthier. He takes Jack Hughes, and then goes Cutter Gauthier. And I am quickly back on the clock, just as I was about to look at available players anyway.
I got lucky because I knew I picked before Ant, so I knew he could have started. I needed at least one Hughes brother. I feel like that's only fair.
You know what? I'm gonna grab it's a 5 defenseman format, so I'm gonna grab my second defenseman. I take Lane Hudson. Sorry about that. I'm hoping he might. Did you really think he'd be around by the time you came back out at 5'10"?
No. Choices had to be made.
Choices had to be made. Jack Hughes is fine. And Ant's back on the clock here. Maybe he was hoping to get Jack Hughes, but no dice there as he took his first defenseman draft, Rasmus Dahlin. Only one goalie off the board at this point, Andrei Vasilevsky. And when we do our goalie tier rankings, he's probably going to be in a tier by himself, I would imagine, in terms from a fantasy perspective. After Lane Hudson goes Jacob Chikrin, Clayton Keller, Kevin Fiala, our second goalie off the board, Logan Thompson. There goes Roman Josi to Makar for sale, Alex Ovechkin to Jordan Scary. Connor Bedard closes round 4. Steven Stamkos opens round 5. Tim Stutzla goes next. He was a guy I was considering before I took Hudson. Makar for sale, back on the clock here.
Okay.
Lots of quality. Jake Ottinger goes. We're starting to see goaltenders go. Sidney Crosby goes. Scott Wedgwood. So it goes Crosby, Ottinger, Reinhardt, Wedgwood, and Ants on the clock. And I got a feeling he's going to take who I want to take.
You got it, sir. We are not waiting much longer. Igor's coming home to me. The goalies are going off the board, and I needed one.
You know what? Let's continue the goalie run here. I'm actually going to take, I think, Jeremy Swayman. I think Boston's a sneaky good team. I'm going to take Swayman there instead of Sorokin. Shake it up a little bit. On the board there. So Mackenzie Weegar goes next right after Swayman. Then Mitch Marner, great pick there by Chris. He's building out his forward group pretty strong after taking Cale Makar with his first pick. Now, Nate's nifty team on the clock. He takes Mikko Rantanen. Strong pick round 5. Nico Hischier closes out round 5. Dylan Larkin open round 6. Nate back on the clock. I would imagine Nate's got to look defenseman or goalie here at some point. So you can take an Ilya Sorokin here, grab your D2, still some good defensemen on the board before that tiers start to get down into the great or there you go, Darren Radish. That's the pick. That's the pick.
Took the wrong one because I will take Jake Sanderson instead.
Then goes Philip Gustafson, and now I'm back on the clock here. I think I got to look at forwards here. Don't want to let that get away from me. Right. Pavel Dorofeev. He's gonna have to put the puck in the net for the Rangers. That's why they brought him in. Take him as my third forward. Now Ant back on the clock here. I don't know if he's considering Dorofeev there or not.
Just gonna tighten up a little bit more of this defense and take Brock Faber.
It's a 5 defenseman format, so it's not crazy to get your top 3 out of the way early. There goes Dylan Gunther, Timo Meyer, probably a little high for him. Sebastian Aho, and now Makar for sale back on the clock. He has yet to take a goalie, so maybe a Sorokin pick here. We'll see.
I feel like the computer's being better trained now. We're not seeing as many egregious picks.
Well, as more people like us are making picks, it starts to learn. Miro Heiskanen, Brandon Hagel, and Karel Vejmelka. A little early for Vejmelka. Closes out round 6. Juraj Slafkovsky and Seth Jarvis open round 7. Love that Jarvis pick there. Josh Morrissey, Kirill Marchenko, Elias Pettersson, Vinny Trocheck, and Ants back on the clock at pick 7-7. 79 overall.
Just as I say the computer's being well trained, Karel Vejmelka goes 6th at the 6th. You're like, well, okay.
Most of the rest of those picks there are fine picks after that. But that
absolutely fine picks, yes.
I have to get ready for my pick here. So available.
All right, we need a forward.
Ant grabs Morgan Geekie, which Yahoo, he has triple position eligibility. You know, he's just sitting here. Give me my third defenseman, Adam Fox. There goes John Carlson, team 9.
I didn't think he was. I didn't think you would take him there, but it is. I'll take the second player on my list here. That'll be Jackson Lacombe.
That's not a bad silver medal there. That's
not a bad silver medal. I was hoping I would get Adam Fox as well, because that would have been an absolute just hoy. What a start.
Then goes Hellebuck and Owen Tippett to close round 7. Bo Horvat opens round 8. Nate back on the clock here. Take Sasha Barkov. Don't sleep on him. This is probably where you're going to have to get him in drafts. Is around this spot, that 8th, 9th round area. Chris back on the clock here. I doubt he goes defenseman after going his last 2. Does he take a goaltender here is the question.
Well, I'm going to stick with a forward here, Mr. I got paid. Someone's going to have to drive the offense there. So
Dylan Cousins goes, and now I'm back on the clock here. You know, I was tempted to look at a goaltender, but we're starting to get thin at goal at forward here. Not too thin, but we're starting to see some names goes. Listen, keep Braden Point. Still going to be a force in Tampa. I know they're getting older. I'll gladly take him there at what? Pick 8-5, 89 overall. Ant back on the clock here. He's got a goalie. He's got 3 defensemen. I'd imagine he's going to go forward here as well, but we'll see. Drake Batherson. There you go.
Yeah.
There goes Ilya Sorokin right after him. Nick Schmaltz, Brian Rust. And now Makar for sale, who's gone defenseman with his last 2 picks, Heiskanen and Morrissey there. So he's taking his 5 defensemen seriously. Schaefer, Yossi, Heiskanen, and Morrissey. 4 of his last 5 picks with Crosby sandwiched in there. Then he grabs Carter Verhaeghe. There goes Brock Nelson, who found a nice home for himself full season in Colorado. John Tavares closes out round 12. Adam Fantilli opened round 9. Andrei Svechnikov picked 9-2. And Makar for sale back on the clock here. Just taking Carter Verhaeghe. Still got a good, 13 rounds to go here. Start to move as we get to the auto pick at the end. Charlie McAvoy, sound pick there, rounding out his defensive group. Dylan Holloway, Rasmus Anderson, Nazem Kadri, Ants back on the clock.
We'll keep adding to the forwards here and take my Jersey guy and Anthony Mantha.
Skates next to Hughes. That could be big. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sure you got your eye on this guy, but me, Logan. Yeah, listen, I needed another forward there. I got to get that forward group keeper. There goes Nikolai Ehlers.
Listen, the computer did me a solid here. I don't know if he died over the summer, but Jesper Bratt still seems like he can contribute.
Yes. Yeah, he had, I wouldn't say a little bit of a down year. It wasn't as strong as the year before, but definitely can get back to those numbers as he goes pick 9-10. 8 takes Lucas Raymond, who's fallen. JT Miller, Tomas Hertl opens up round 10. Nate's nifty team back on the clock. Nate looking maybe a defenseman. He's just got Bouchard and Radish. There you go. Eric Carlson is D3 with Chris back on the clock here.
I don't know why
Jasper
always happens to me. I don't know why when I get here he's just staring me in the eyes. But it's going to be Dan Vladar again.
Vladar and Linus Olmark, and now I think the time has come for me to grab my second goalie before the run takes full effect. He kind of coming out party last year. I'll take him as my goalie too, Brendan Bussey. Ant back on the 3 straight goalies go. Vladar, Olmark, Bussey. Ant back on the clock here. He's got Shesterkin. If he grabs a goalie or if he goes back to maybe defenseman.
Let's take where is he?
Kenzie Blackwood. There you go. Now, when we talk goalie handcuffs at some point, you have to handcuff the Avalanche goalies. Have to. Thomas Chabot goes. Tom Wilson. Travis.
You need 2 sets of wood.
Yeah.
If you take one. So you just got to figure that out.
Wedge the Blackwood. We got Travis Konechny, Mark Stone, Mike Matheson, Joel Hofer, who's going to be taking over the St. Louis gig this year. Ryan O'Reilly, John Gibson. Off the board there. Yeah, goalies are going. You see, there goes Gavin McKenna, who is a guy I was going to try and grab here, but good on Makar for sale. Sam Bennett, Jordan Kyrou, great pick in the 11th round there. He can have a little bit of a resurgence in Washington. Jake DeBrusk goes probably a little early for him. And now Ant's back on the clock here.
We talked a lot about this guy being a top defenseman and not drafting him, but he's going to be my 4th defenseman. So I'm going to go Bowen Byram.
Listen, as a D4, certainly nothing wrong with that. I am back on the clock here. There's still some with. I'm going to grab forward. Give me Robert Thomas, top center in St. Louis. Line with Holloway. There goes Mikhail Sergachev.
I will complete my goalies. I will take Jesper Wolfden.
Go. So he's got Wallstead and Vladar. Even though Philip Gustafson went all the way back at 6'4" to Team 9, we'll see how that wild goaltending situation shakes itself out. But Nate's nifty team back on the clock. He took Eric Carlson last time. There goes Brant Clark. So, I mean, that's probably an appropriate place if you want to take a Brant Clark. I wouldn't say that's too early. Once you get into the double-digit rounds, that's fine. UC Saros. That's depending on which Nashville do we see? The Nashville from the first half or the Nashville from the second half? Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, that's another one. I think with Buffalo, you have to kind of, with him and Alex Lyon, I think you got to handcuff those guys as well. Nate's nifty team back on the clock here. Takes Dougie Hamilton. So he goes 3 straight defensemen there. So he's got his defensive 5 rounded out.
I'm going to take the upside here. I'm going to take the upside on Matt Duchene. I just feel like I think he's still got a little juice to squeeze.
We still have back-to-back stars there, Rupe Hintz and Matt Duchene. I agree. Matt, he had a strong showing last year in Dallas. All right, I'm going to have to grab a defenseman here before we get too crazy here because I don't want my defense to be too far down the chain. Just making sure there's nobody hiding on me in the lower rankings. I'm going to have to, you know what? Give me Shane Gott. I'll deal. You know he's going to get the power play time in Carolina, if nothing else. I have to look at defenseman again on the way back, depending on how this stints itself out. There goes Jared McCann, Beckett Seneca, Jared McCann, Jacob Trouba, Ricard Raquel. Get through round 12 here. Car for sale back on the clock. Plenty of rounds to go here. 12-teamer here on Total Hockey Now, here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. Appreciate you tuning in, whether it's live or watching the mock later. Appreciate it. Come on, McCarthy. Shea Theodore. Tough decision to make for defenseman there. Joel Eriksson Ek, that's a borderline steal in round 12. Darnell Nurse, Gabe Filardi open up round 13. Anthony Cirelli, Morgan Riley, Jakob Dobesh, Brad Marchand, Anthony back on the clock. I picked 13-7. Trevor Zegras. Love it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And with goals and the way the Sharks are, I want a piece of Celebrini. I'm not going to get Celebrini, but I'll get the Robin to his Batman, Will Smith. Dylan Strome goes after that. Chris back on the clock.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Alex Lafreniere. I mean, it's not a full-blown Ranger team. That's only your first Ranger of the day, so you're okay.
Maybe this is the year he sees top power play minutes. One could sit here and hope again.
If it's not this year, when is it going to be?
I don't know. I keep getting suckered into it.
There goes Lafreniere, pick 13-10. Jet Greaves, 13-11. The other, Alex Laferriere, 13-12. Colton Parayko opens up round 14. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get my next pick ready to go here. Cheating. Lord. See what Nate does here. He's got his 2 goalies. See if he takes a third. Looks like he's got a starting defensive group rounded out. There you go. Matthew Nyes. It's a good value pick in early round 14. In a banger league, he would not be there at round 14. Thomas Harley, Chris, Quentin Byfield. And now I'm back on the clock. Probably got to look at a defenseman here before it gets any later. As that group thins out, gets thinner and thinner. Oh, man. I don't love who's there. I may actually wait on them. You know what? Give me friggin' Cole Hudson if he's in everybody's top 20, whatever. Give me Cole Hudson as my defenseman 5. And if you're wrong, I'm going to come after you.
I think people may be predicting Cole Hudson to be more of like Lane Hudson, but I just don't think Washington will have to move Cole Hudson into that position the same way the Canadians were forced to do it.
I have both Hudson brothers on defense. So, I mean, if nothing else, that's something.
At least you don't have to. At least you don't. That would be a fantastic team name.
Hudson River.
Hudson River. Hudson and Hudson could either be a fantasy hockey name or a law firm.
Of course. It's So after I took Cole Hudson, Gavrikov, Justin Falk, Darcy Kemper, Vince Dunn, Sergei Bobrovsky, Matthew Barzal, Noah Hannafin closed out round 14. Phil Peronic, Sean Walker, Alex Lyon, Brandon Montour, Victor Hedman, Blake Coleman gets us halfway through round 12, or excuse me, round 15 with Anna on the clock here.
That was quite the run of defensemen there.
Out of green. Goalies too. 1, 2, 3, 5 goalies going in the last 3 rounds. People get their goalie too. There goes Kiefer Sherwood. Like that pick. I'm a big Kiefer Sherwood. Big. All right. Let's see. Wait. 3. I think it's a big bounce back year for JJ Peterka, Boston. Evgeny Malkin. I'm grabbing Peterka on a lot of drafts. Evgeny Malkin goes right after me at pick 59. Bobby McCann. Chris, another guy that Chris has been taking. Somebody's got to put the puck in that in Seattle.
So, listen, somebody has to, somebody's got to do something.
Sorry, my man. Just taking my players. After Demidov goes, surprised you didn't take Demidov there. Granlund, Will Cooley.
Of course.
That's the ESPN ranking screwing you, my friend.
Of course it is. I knew I was, what the worst part is? I was scrolling down this page, like trying to find like a guy like that who was just misranked. But I guess I didn't scroll far enough.
That's how you can screen and see I'm doing that right now.
It's all right. It happens. I got bit by the ESPN ranking.
Logan Stankoven goes. Thanks, Nate. That's always my guy that I grab around this. Not happy.
All right, I'm gonna
Chris on the clock here.
I'm gonna try this. Maybe this works out.
Luke Hughes. He gets one of the Hughes brothers.
It's false. I have 2 Hughes. I have Quinn and Luke.
Oh, that's right. You have got you.
I have 2. I have Hughes and Hughes, which is not as cool of a law firm.
No.
The name doesn't sound as good.
I gotta have hot power. All right, I'll take a little bit of it here. Why not? Give me a little piece of Edmonton. We are in round 16, folks. Plenty to go here. Hopefully,
this is where the real work starts.
Yeah. This is where you find the guys that you're gonna hopefully fill out the bottom part of your roster. Stay there for a while, not people that you're gonna end up dropping. After that, Nugent Hopkins, Matthias Samuelson, Travis Sanheim, Valerie Nichushkin, Tyler Toffoli. So Makar for sale on the clock there. He's got Alex Lyon, Sergei Bobrovsky. He maybe waited a little too long on his goaltenders, but that's okay. Tyler Bertuzzi, Spencer Knight, Jonathan Marchessault closes out round 16. Anders Lee in the 17th round. William Eklund in the 17th round. Those are guys that'll probably creep up the ADP a little bit longer. Yeah, as Nate's enjoying sniping guys. Good for you. Eklund was a guy I considered, but I always like to have a piece of Edmonton when I can. Eklund was a guy I was considering. Lee was another one I could have looked at, but Ant back on the clock here. We are halfway through round 17. And he takes Yaroslav Askarov. All right. Wow, I'm going to get my third goalie here. Going to get the playing time. Let me take Carter Hart. I know Jacob Markstrom is still there, but I don't know. I feel like they may have kid gloves with him in Florida. Not play him a ton. Charlie Coyle goes after that.
I hope he comes into camp, healthy and not fat.
Mishkov.
Great.
I mean, you'd think he'd learn his lesson by.
You would hope.
There goes Porter Martone, Matty Beniers to close out round 17. Eli Tolvanen to open round 18. We figure out why Wego Sorensen is forward and
Wego Sorensen.
I'm gonna have to look into that one a little bit more. I mean, according to Elite Prospects, it says he's a defenseman, so maybe they just try to stick the middle.
They're like,
Igor
you will not play your position, but you'll be any of the other ones. Listen, I feel like maybe we'll do something different. High upside guy. Maybe he takes over a center spot here in Boston. I don't know. I just feel good about Fraser Minten right now.
Jackson Blake, I like that pick.
Like someone, it's not like Pavel Zacha and Elias Lindholm are elite. Wego Sorensen, though, that's a find.
You know what? I know he's hurt, but he produces lineup. Give me a little Troy Terry. Anaheim's gonna have to score a lot of goals this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 straight picks at forward.
Make it 10.
Ivan Barbashev, Joey Ford, Matthias Ekholm, Asa Lindell. Round 18, moving a little bit here. Car for sale, back on the clock. Takes Nikishin. There goes Patrick Kane, Dustin Wolf, Jake Allen, Matt Coronado. Some good picks there. Michael Misa, Jacob Markstrom, Chris Letang, Maxim Siplikov. Now Ant back on the clock at 19-7.
Does dude in the one spot have 4 goalies? Is that
right? Ant's making his pick while I try and figure out who I'm taking. Frank Nazar is a guy I was looking at as well.
It's pretty locked in there.
I might wait on defenseman here. Actually, you know what? Give me Zeev Boyum as my 6th defenseman. Why not? I'm gonna give him Vancouver. 3 rounds to go. Oliver Bjorkstrand goes to Team 9. They got more faith in him than I do. The Rangers here. All right, Mason McTavish goes next to Chris. Love that pick. When you're getting this late in the draft, it's tough to make a quote-unquote bad pick.
Oh, it's possible.
It's possible. At this point, anybody you're getting, just hoping to get some value out. Like a Drew Doughty, a Marco Rossi, Brady Shea. These are all the guys that are going to go in round 20 of a 12-team ESPN list. I mean, Siplikov is going to get his time in Calgary, nothing else. I mean, I considered Simone Nemec for the same reason, but I ended up going with Boyum instead. Back on the board here. Back on the clock. See, there's Bjorkstrand, McTavish, Doughty, Rossi, Shea, Chris Kreider. Chris back on the clock. He takes his boy Gabe Perreault, Pavel Buchnevich, and I am back on the clock.
That's 2 Rangers. I feel dirty.
You're getting dirty, but you're not quite dirty.
It's not how I thought this would go.
Jimmy Snuggerud. He has a nice sophomore campaign in St. Louis, back-to-back there. I've got 2 picks left after this. Back to Team 1 if he's carrying Allen, Wolf, Hofer, and Vamelka. So I guess if those are going to be your goals, you probably should carry. Figures itself out.
That's
Seth
true.
Jones, Elias Lindholm, Jordan Eberle, Stu Skinner. For when Connor Hellebuck does get traded eventually. Bar Stenberg. See what kind of role he has in San Jose out of the gate. Lawson Cruz, Kyle Palmieri, Devin Taves, Adam Larson, Aaron Ekblad, Igor Sharangovich, Matt Zuccarello, who I was also considering Snuggerud, because he always finds his way into finding points. So it definitely has a late round pick. I don't mind Matty Zooks. Joseph Wall goes, and now Ant's back on the clock. 2 picks to go. It's mock. Claude Giroux.
Oh.
Sneaky pick late in the late part of. Oh, I'm on the. Give me a little Ryan Leonard.
Okay, that's good.
Brian Leonard. I'll take a shot on him.
I'm gonna take a stab here. I have no exposure to the San Jose Sharks, which I feel like is a concern. So I will take Mason Marchman.
That's normally my guy.
Well, I just feel like he wouldn't have gone there if he didn't think he could get top 6 minutes.
I mean, I would imagine he's going to be on that second line with Misa and maybe like a Colin Graff.
That's literally what Daily Faceoff had, and I was like, I can live with that.
Because I know Stenberg's the second overall pick. They're not going to rush him. They don't have a reason to rush him. They'll let him play on the third line. We'll be fine with it.
You could play third line, get better matchups, ease into confidence. It. Yeah. You don't have to go up there and play top line minutes with Celebrini.
Zach Benson, Jake McCabe, Keandre Miller all go next as we are in the final round. Keandre Miller opened the final round. 8's on the clock. Who's he going to take with his last pick? Josh Norris.
I will be taking my sleeper goalie of the year right here. Future.
ESPN's bad when they have him listed as Detroit.
Yeah, ESPN does not care, which is great.
Now it's time for me to try and find somebody deep down the scroll list here. Someone that I'm going to be like, yeah, that's the guy.
Have you thought about maybe taking Wiggo Sorensen?
No, I have not.
He has dual position eligibility.
That's fine. I'm going to have to do something here. Oh, no. Give me Josh Dolan. He had some flashes last year in Buffalo. Sure, there was a better pick I could have made there, but 30-second clock. You got to move. There goes Cam Fowler, Mario Ferraro, Alexi Protas, Lucas Dostal, Trevor Moore, Sam Malinsky, and Josh Manson. There you go. That rounds out the draft. Now, I don't want to do like a full-blown recap here. I'm just going to do, a pick I'm most proud of and a pick I probably panicked a little bit. Adam Fox still sitting there at 7-8. I probably to be safer, I probably should have taken him in the 6th round, but I wanted another forward there, Dorofiev. So getting Adam Fox in the 7th round as my third defenseman, very happy with that pick. Maybe a panic pick for me. It's probably Cole Hudson here. I maybe waited. I usually like to get my defenseman wrapped up, but I was probably so, happy that I got Fox that maybe I slept on it a little too long. I don't mind any of those picks, Point, Cooley, Bussy, Robert Thomas. But Gostisbehere is fine as a 4. I don't love Cole Hudson as 5. Maybe I could have taken Victor Hedman instead. Probably would have been a wiser pick there. But maybe that's the one I panicked a little bit. Otherwise, I'm happy with the way the rest of my draft went.
No, yours is very solid. I think I did fantastic between picks 4 and 8. Just anytime you get like Jack Hughes has the 100-point capability, should he stay healthy. Mitch Marner is in the same conversation on a very good team. Getting someone like Jake Sanderson and the upside of Jackson Lacombe, I just feel like
that's your top 3 D-men right there.
Those are, and I started with Cale Makar, so I feel like that, rounding out 3 defensemen who are going to see a ton of ice time works out good, and then getting Leo Carlson as well. I mean, in that, the only player that I think I would have targeted instead in that same round would have been Braden Point, but you had taken him. So Leo Carlson's sitting there. The upside is there. It's possible. I think he can do it, but I just feel like a lot of good value in those middle picks there.
I'll even put you through round 9, getting Jesper Bratt in round 9.
Yes, yeah, I feel like that one ties into Jack Hughes. I feel like that's how I kind of went. I don't know if my goaltending is super strong, but if Dan Vladar is going to play a bunch. If Jesper Wallstedt can pick up a starting gig, whether it's in Minnesota or somewhere else, that'd be great. And Sebastian Koss at some point is going to take over for Utah. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. So,
all right, Ant's turn here to take us to where he's most proud and maybe where he panicked a little bit.
I honestly, I don't know how I feel about this team. I really don't know how I feel. I mean, getting Draisaitl and Caulfield as the first, my top 2 picks for forwards, and then I think I kind of went a little more defensive heavy and missed out on probably some really good forwards. I'll take Shesterkin as my top goalie, but then maybe my panic pick was Mackenzie Blackwood. I was looking for Jet Greaves, and I don't know why I over glossed him on
Because
there.
ESPN's rankings stink.
Yeah, I was looking for Jet Greaves in that spot because I don't know where Mackenzie Blackwood falls, and if you don't have the tandem like you mentioned of him and Wedgwood, it's kind of the point of having them is kind of mute. And I would assume the same thing would go for, and maybe you can attest to this, Adam, because you're there. But Askarov with Nedeljkovic, I think might be something to consider as well.
For a handcuff, I think Askarov is the one that's going to have to answer that question because Nedeljkovic is signed to a deal where they're like, okay, if Askarov is not the guy, now they have at least a reliable insurance policy until Ravensburgen or somebody like that steps up. But I think with Askarov, again, also with that defenseman group you saw last year, it's tough to evaluate him. But he also can't be skating out of the crease like it's a Thursday 10:30 beer league game and you just want to go home. Like he can't be coming out and playing pucks like that. Maybe he can behind this blue line, but he still shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I'm good with Bowen Byram as my 5th defenseman.
Me too.
Oh no, actually, I had him as my 4th because I had Dahlin, Chicker, and then Faber before him. I'm hoping and banking off of the seasons last year from Geeky, Batherson, Mantha to really Seneca, Zegras. They all had big seasons as forwards. I'm taking a big risk in those middle numbers, hoping that they really step up again. And then obviously Sherwood. I like you. I really like Sherwood here in San Jose. I think he's going to fit in well there, and I hope he takes off. And then I guess the bench pieces of Barbashev, Nazar, Seth Jones, Claude Giroux, Cam Fowler. I mean, you could go worse than that. So I feel like that's kind of a solid bench for me personally.
I like the Nazar pick that way.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he dropped that low. So I mean, that's I guess the ESPN way.
We have somebody saying McCarr sale had a nasty team before we wrap things up. Let's just take a look at that quick.
Yeah, let's check it out.
McKinnon, Suzuki, Schaefer, Yossi, Crosby, Haskin, and Morrissey.
Yeah.
So top 4 defensemen right there. Schaefer, Yossi, Haskin, and Morrissey. You're in good shape. Verhaeghe and McAvoy's your 5. Verhaeghe, Stone. Yeah, he took advantage of. He let a lot of the forwards fall to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe his goaltending with Bobrovsky and Lyon and Dostal.
Lyon and Dostal is going to be certainly a choice.
But you know what? We've all, like last year, we all thought that we had the best groups taking the top guys, and a lot of them didn't work out. So who knows? Maybe this could work out for him.
No,
goalies are voodoo. We have no idea what's going to happen with them.
We'll talk about goalies in the next episode. But yeah, last year was not a year for fantasy goaltending, and we see, and let me bring that back up here. Look at the goalies that have gone, and so you have Vasilevsky goes at the end of round 2, and then nobody goes again until Logan Thompson at 4-9, and then you start your run in the middle of the 5th round. Last year, you would have had probably about 3 or 4 goalies, and probably maybe like 5 before you got into the 5th round.
You would have definitely seen guys like Ilya Sorokin be gone by there, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, Ottinger. Like, without a question, those are 4. You could have probably thrown in someone like Shesterkin as well in that. You would have seen a ton of goalies go early. I feel like because of last year and how many people got burned by having to take those goalies early and just the return not being there, some people are going to get skittish on it. And I think that just proves that there is more value to be found. And that if you did want to wait on goaltending, there's nothing wrong with that. You can wait and still get a good one. You can still load up on those offensive guys who are going to have those years, or at least hopefully do, and then still get some good goaltending as the draft goes on.
And we got to remember, too, that there was a whole bunch of auto picks in here. So when we play for real, I assume that the goalies are going to go at a different rate.
And here's the other thing, too. Like, yeah, you can wait on goalies, and I agree, wait on goalies. But when the run starts, you're going to see a lot go off the board. It's not going to be like, once you see that 2nd and 3rd goalie go, if you want a goal, you're going to have to grab it with that next pick because they're going to start.
Yeah. I'll say this: if Vasilevsky's number 1, I'm okay with passing on him. But then, like you said, then you have to be prepared to take a goalie after. As soon as you see him go, then I feel like it's time to make the move.
2 goalie tiers, that'll be certainly helpful in terms of that. But like we said, it'll probably be just Vasilevsky in the top tier. That'll do it for this edition of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. We will be back with you one day next week. I don't know what day that's going to be yet, but we will be back with you one day next week. We'll have to work that out after, but thank you for watching, whether it's live or you're watching later on. We want your fantasy questions as well. We want your takes, your questions, comments, anything. Reach out to us at totalhockeynow@gmail.com. Find us at Twitter at totalhockeynow. Just comment here on the videos and YouTube page. But at Ant Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91. I am at Puck Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Back with you next week. Let's go online one day. One of those days next week, we'll be back here on Total Hockey Now. Thanks for watching, everybody.